give you an idea of how strong the winds were last night, I'm 5'4", and the winds were strong enough to pull this tree and its roots out of the ground last night. Today's agreement affects Virginia Intermont students and horses like Ozzy, which are now part of the Emory and Henry community. The town of Mashim is a cloud of smoke this morning after this lumber yard went up in flames. So there won't be cars and trucks this weekend fighting to get the best spot to see that double feature. But hopefully there will be lots and lots of campers. You might expect Santa to come down from the chimney, but today at Niswonger Children's Hospital, he'll be stepping out of the elevator. Items that will be tax-free in Tennessee this weekend include school supply items under $100, like notebooks, crayons, glue, and backpacks. It was the night before Christmas, but it was not a silent night. Sirens rang and alarms sounded as the John Sevier Center burned in downtown Johnson City. It was December 24th, 1989, a day many will never forget. Lieutenant Barry Richardson was off duty that night.
We went to my mother-in-law's house for Christmas, and it came across the screen, for all firefighters report to the fire department that John Sevier was on fire.
He said the first wave of firefighters were up against a fire so hot it melted their gear.
They made the initial attack on the fire. It melted their helmets. It was already so hot inside the building when they went in, so they went in, they got burned.
Time either stood still or just flew. I don't know what you'd call it.
They were trying to evacuate people from the building, carrying them down and find out who was there, and they had no place for them to go, and it was a bitter cold day.
I remember feeling so lost.
The fire claimed 16 lives that night. 14 were residents and 2 were visitors.
There was a lot of guys went way above and beyond that night, and yet we still lost 16.
Muncie Church across the street opened their doors to emergency responders and evacuees that needed medical attention.
When we arrived at the church, our pastor, who was there at the time, immediately said, we need to go open up all the doors downstairs so that people can come in.
John Sevier Center staff told me there are still residents living in the center that were there the night of the fire. But not surprisingly, these are memories that the residents do not want to bring back to light. In Johnson City, Emily Carrier, 19 News. The National Weather Service says the tornado that hit Gray Sunday stayed on for 7 miles.
I stayed in the basement and watched it.
We all congregated in the basement, didn't hear a thing, quiet as it could be, until my son-in-law says, "Come out here and see this."
We could see the debris flying around outside, but we didn't really know what had happened until we had come out to see the damage.
So now the community is cleaning up what the tornado left behind.
And at least on this street, that's been the main issue, is trees. My neighbor to the next door, he took a camper top or a camper awning in his roof, and so he's got a little bit of a hole there.
But it's not every man for himself out here, not one bit.
I've had help today, yesterday. We had neighbors come out of the woodwork. It's a good neighborhood.
Dad, let's get back to work on a tree.
Members of this Gray, Tennessee community made this story not about the tornado that ripped through, but about helping one another in times of need. No one was injured in this neighborhood, and that may have been due to the safety measures that were taken.
I usually take them with a grain of salt, and for some reason it said go home this time, and I did. And it's a good thing we were where we were, because this was a bona fide tornado.
The community is looking at downed fences, lost shutters, siding and flashing, broken trampolines and playgrounds, damaged campers and barns, and many, many downed trees.
Other than that, it was a big wind.
In Gray, Emily Carrier, 19 News. At 12:55 Monday night, Sullivan County Deputy Jacob Yeager was dispatched to a house fire on Pony Express Trail in Bluff City. What he didn't know is in the next 10 minutes, he would save a man's life.
My brother lives there, and he's a bachelor, and he's up in his 80s. So I was really concerned about him.
Jimmy Rutledge's sister, Mary Jane, watched as her childhood home went up in smoke with her brother inside.
That house went up. He was inside, and we didn't know whether he would get out or he wouldn't.
When Officer Yeager arrived on scene, the home was engulfed in black smoke, and Rutledge was out on the roof.
He was holding on to a flagpole up on the house to make him balance to where he wouldn't fall off.
Rutledge is nearly deaf and didn't have his hearing aids.
Couldn't hear any instructions that he was being given to just jump and get down. I looked up at him, and he was pretty hard to see, mainly because he was just full. I mean, he's surrounded by smoke.
So Yeager used the only tools he had, a flashlight and his arms.
I grabbed my flashlight off my belt and shined it up towards him, tried to shine it in his face so he could at least see what direction he needed to come to. He came to the edge, and we eventually convinced him to jump down.
83-year-old Rutledge jumped from the burning roof into the arms of Officer Yeager and family members.
I'm glad that we could all work together as a team. There wasn't a separation between the public and police that night. So we all came together to save a man's life.
In Bluff City, Emily Carrier, 19 News. Jessica Nicole, I'm live here on Center Street at FunFest 2014, and I have found someone very dressed for the occasion. I have Ginger and her dog, Nemo. Ginger, tell me what Nemo's wearing tonight.
Nemo is wearing a onesie that I bought at the FunFest store, but we had to do a little bit of alteration on it because he didn't like it when it snaps. So I just trimmed it a little bit and put his bow tie on, and he really enjoys listening to the music and seeing all the people. He's been sharing my ham sandwich.
Harrison, let's get a shot of that bow tie. What a well-dressed dog tonight for FunFest. Having a great time at the parade with his owner, Ginger.
Candy and the band.
Candy and the band. What all have you got in that bag?
A lot of bubble gum.
A lot of bubble gum? What about you?
I like the Army.
You like the Army? What about you, Emily?
The band.
The band? I think that's been my favorite part, too. Well, hopefully there'll be some more bands and some more candy. Jessica Nicole, back to you on set.
Thanks, Emily. It looks like they do have a front row seat.
Jessica Nicole, I'm down here on Center Street, and I have Lisa from Sunnyside Baptist in Kingsport, Tennessee. Lisa, what is your group doing today in the parade?
We are doing a puppet ministry. We do a puppet ministry. We've done it all over the world. We just got back from Washington, D.C. We just want to love people and share the love of Christ with everyone.
Well, Lisa, I hope you have a great time in the parade. It looks like all the kids are having a great time looking at your puppets.
Yes, they are.
All right, I'll let you get back to your float.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Jessica Nicole, back to you on set.
Emily Carrier with the newly crowned Miss Kingsport.
Okay.
Jessica Nicole, I'm here with Jacqueline, the newly crowned Miss Kingsport. Jacqueline, you were crowned Saturday. How has your first week as Miss Kingsport been?
It has been amazing, and I'm truly blessed to be given the opportunity to give back to a community that has given so much to me.
And as Miss Kingsport, what are you most excited about in all these FunFest events?
I'm really excited to go to all of the events, but I'm especially excited to MC the Hope Gospel concert. So that's on Sunday, so everybody come out and listen to a great show.
Thank you, Jacqueline.
Thank you.
Well, you better show up to the Hope Gospel concert on Sunday. Jessica Nicole, back to you on set.
And we really need the donations, so come see us.
$300 a month.
$300 a month. Well, Andrea, Sabrina, and Lisa, thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Jessica and Nicole, back to you on set.